Hey y'all, I'm Chris Fox, a brand strategist and marketing coach, and this is the Small Business Survival Guide. I'm bringing the questions and concerns we have about doing business in the age of the coronavirus to experts in their fields who can help us look ahead and give practical tips to press on. Today, I'm joined by my friend Marcie Hines. She is a wife, a mom, an entrepreneur, and has been a local business owner for more than 19 years. Marcie currently manages a team of 4 and has had to switch suddenly to doing so virtually. Hey, Marcie, welcome.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here. Well, let's dive in. First, I want to ask you, so normally your team works out of the same office here in OKC, right?
They do. We all work within about 10 feet from each other.
That's awesome. And so now that's not the case, though. You have had to switch and do all of that remotely.
Yeah, new times for us for sure.
Yeah, so tell me about that. What's been some of the more difficult aspects of that?
Well, where to begin on this? I tell you, my team and I are really lucky. We've been together for years now. And so I think the biggest problem for us at the moment is we just miss each other. We miss the camaraderie, and you don't really realize how important the personal interaction is until you just don't have it. I mean, working from
Yeah.
home is one issue and one mindset you need to be in. And to do it without your friends next to you, your coworkers, your colleagues, your team, has been the biggest challenge, I think, for myself. And I'll speak for the team as well. We just feel a little bit disjointed.
Have there been upsides? Have there been any? I mean, has there been a win from it?
Well, that's a great question. We are definitely resourceful. And so, the memes are strong on our team. We're doing a better job with that. We are sharing a lot of references on what to watch tonight or this weekend. So definitely sharing all of our favorites. And then it's really forced us to communicate differently, to kind of stretch ourselves in how we're managing the tasks that we're responsible for, and then also communicating with each other. In fact, we actually just had our first team Zoom meeting yesterday morning, which was a little bit tricky, mostly my fault, and took us like 10 minutes to get in and then get the audio right and then get all the camera right. And yet when we got done with it, we were like, okay, every Monday morning at least, we need to check in with each other and just visit and kind of see where we are personally.
So that's been a big saving grace for you guys then, getting to see each other face to face and interact in real time.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're used to seeing people every single day, all day long, and we make fun of each other like we're family, right? Like our employees are like they're like siblings. And so when you miss out on the teasing and all the banter, it just changes your day. It changes your dynamic. And we're already in a tricky mindset, right? It's a daily activity to make sure that we're staying focused and staying motivated, and making sure we're taking care of our families that we work for. And so to not have each other, to be next to each other, it makes a big difference when we can send each other the meme or the picture of what we're doing. And then, of course, now get on the Zoom calls.
Well, so that makes me think of your company culture. I know and have heard lore of your taco parties and your birthday celebrations. You have been really intentional about your office culture, your company culture when you guys are together. How maybe it's the memes and now the Zoom calls, but what ways are you seeing as a manager that you can create culture digitally?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We actually do a lot of things. We celebrate a lot and we do fun, quirky things. There's always a national day for something. So now that we're not together, and we do Donut Friday. I mean, everybody's texting Friday morning, who's picking up donuts? Where are we getting them from? Everybody has their favorites. And so now we've had to switch that. And for example, we have a birthday party coming up this month. And normally we would decorate said birthday person's space and bring a dessert in and do lunch together. So what we figured out yesterday is that we just put it on the calendar. We're going to have a 1 hour long or so Zoom party. Everybody get the dessert from their pantry. make a party hat if you don't have one in your closet, and we'll just enjoy hanging out together and still celebrating. So that's one way we're doing it. I've also asked the team to send me pictures. I want to do a collage, and I want to see the animals involved. And now that we're kind of bringing in our truly our personal lives into the workday, we're just kind of embracing that and having fun with it, and just understanding that, you know, we're all in this together separately, and that we need to understand that, you know, when we're having conversations or when we're taking care of the families, you know, the doorbell's going to ring, or the dogs are going to bark, or the kids are going to open the door and come in, and it just is what it is. So we're doing our best to just take it one day at a time, and a lot of grace.
Yeah, that's so true. I heard a business owner say a couple weeks ago, one of the things you need to understand is that just everybody, yourself included, is basically at 70% right now. And so lots of grace, lots of understanding for those things that are going to happen, and the doorbells and the kids and the pets, all of that.
Yeah, no doubt. I think one of the other things that I have found that's been really important for me to be aware of and to talk to the team about is really our expectations. You know, working from home is just different than working from the office, if that's what you're used to. And so we are, you know, we're high performers. We do what we need to do, we get it done, and then some. And when you switch gears to the house, there's all of these distractions. There's, you know, kids and animals and spouses and loved ones and friends and family calling, and, you know, the dishes to do, and dinner has to be made yet again because we can't go out. So we're just doing our best to manage expectations. You know, what is it that we need to do today? What is the most important things we need to get done? And then kind of understanding that we're not always going to have the bandwidth to be our 100% selves, like you were mentioning, 70%, and then applying the grace. So realizing expectations, and then being okay some days that you're not getting done everything you would normally get done on a Monday. I mean, that's the hardest thing for me. I'm a planner, you know this. So when I cannot check everything off the to-do list, it drives me crazy. After a few weeks in quarantine, you kind of get over that, and you just go, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're very driven by expectations and lists and plans that you make for yourself. So that's something that you've kind of seen as step one: manage your expectations for yourself and your team.
Yes.
Maybe your list gets shorter, maybe it changes a little bit, but then that was beautiful the way you said it. Then apply the grace when there are still items hanging out on that list at the end of your work period, because there are just other things right now. And so it's all kind of a mix and blended together.
No, I totally agree. And once you become self-aware of that, once you can identify your expectations, then it's applying, you know, the empathy. You know, we all have our days. I am not a high emotion person. I'm a high energy person, but I'm not a high emotion. I don't get distraught over a lot of things. Yet after so many days now and weeks in the situation that we're in, I have moments. I told my husband I have like waves of being anxious, and I would never describe myself as an anxious person or a depressed person. Those are not words that are in my vocabulary. But I understand that I have waves of stress that I have to kind of, you know, tough talk myself and say, okay, you know, it is what it is. What can I do? Let's move forward. And I've got to realize as a leader that my team is going through the same thing. I mean, we're all going through this, but as a leader, I need to understand every single day that if something is not happening like it normally would, or like I think it should, that I've got to be aware that I'm not sure what's going on with my teammates because I'm not with them physically. And they're being affected by what we're seeing online, what we're seeing on TV, and then maybe what's going on with their family members or friends.
Are you guys so you mentioned your Zoom call and the way you're bringing personal lives really into the mix now, more so than ever before. Are you planning specific times to process that? I'm assuming in amongst the memes and the TV recommendations, maybe there's also conversations of, I heard this information and it makes me nervous. Is there time you're seeing that as you manage people digitally now?
That's a great question. We had a lot of those conversations in person when we were still together and the office was still open. And now we haven't had those conversations so much. And I don't know if it's just because we all understand the gravity and we're all getting adjusted to the new normalcy for now. Yeah. So we haven't brought it in too much. I think as we're spending more time on Zoom now, where we can have time to physically see each other face to face to have those conversations, which personally, I kind of think that's what it needs to be. I know my teammates and I know I can tell what their tone is typically by text and so forth, but things like this that are really important, I just want to see them. I want to see them to understand. What is it? 54% of our how we're talking is our body language. I don't think I'm saying it right, but you guys get the point. And so I need to see them when we talk about that. Otherwise, I think they're probably doing what I'm doing when we have the hour here and there and 2 hours dedicated to getting done what we need to get done. We just get focused on it. And that's what helps us get through our work. And then we, move on to help managing our families who are all around us. They won't leave.
Well, so you've given, just even in our conversation already, you've given a ton of advice on this, but if you were talking to a fellow business owner and their question was, how can I be the best digital boss that I can be? How would you sum that up in what you're trying to do?
Well, that's no pressure. I would just, a couple pointers. Know what your expectations are. Understand what is most important to get done. It's not going to be every single task that you used to get done in the office. Just kind of put that by the wayside for the moment. And then understand what your team may or may not need. Do they need you to reach? Do you need a Zoom meeting? I'm saying you need Zoom meetings with your teammates, period. You need to see them. They need to see you. Make sure that you are clear of what your expectations are with them. And then show the grace. This should be a temporary situation, and the world is not going to end if we didn't cross every single thing off our list for the team leader and for the team members.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I love that. I love that that's where you're leading from. I love that that's what you're saying. So thanks for that. I want to look ahead a little bit. If we're looking ahead about 5 years, what do you think this global pandemic does to shape business? How are we doing that? How are we going to see business change, team management change, if you had to dream 5 years ahead?
Oh, I really love this question. So in my opinion, what's happening right now is that we are being forced, for some of us that are a little bit older, we're being forced to kind of go old school, where we used to just go outside and play with rocks and dirt because we didn't have cell phones and all of this gaming centers and apps on our cell phones. So a lot of us are kind of having to go back to our roots on that. Others are having to get creative and think of new ways to do things, new ways to do business, new ways to start a business or maintain a business or grow a business. And so honestly, I think it's an opportunity. And I think that's the way we have to look at it. Where is your mindset out on this? It's an opportunity to figure out new ways to do what we're doing, to figure out better ways, more efficient ways. And this shutdown time, these hours, this mental space that we have is going to allow us and other business owners to do this. So I think I'm really actually excited to see the Netflix documentary on the 2020 pandemic next year, hopefully. I keep telling my husband that. I just want to see what everything's happening next year.
Somebody's got to be making a documentary about this, guys.
Surely. And then the second thing is, how creative can we get this year? How efficient can we get? I know that I've already had new ideas about doing things. And then I've also this is my biggest aha so far. I knew logically that as a business owner and as a team leader, I don't have to physically be in my office 40 hours a week to do what it is that I need to do. Now, I need to be in the office to get, A, B, and C done. But my best use of my time is not always sitting at my desk 40 hours a week. And so seeing that our business will continue and the world doesn't stop spinning if I'm not in the office now 40 hours a week was a big aha. And that it's just forcing me to change my systems, change how I'm thinking, and which is also helping me grow my thinking. So I think there's a ton of entrepreneurs out there, a ton of ones that will be, finally take the leap. I think that what you're doing right now to help people understand branding and strategy and marketing is huge. People are paying attention more to, their families, maybe their personal health, their businesses, and how they're doing things. And I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway from 2020.
That's so good. I love your perspective on that, and agree with everything you said. I'm right there with you. I think if we look at even the hard times in life, in society, and cast them as an opportunity in our mind, while honoring and mourning and acknowledging the hard times, but saying, how are we going to leverage what we've learned here? That's so important. And then I agree with you. I think the same time, there's never been more noise online and just in the world about everything going on. People are listening more than they ever have before. And so it's a very unique time. It's a time of great distraction, but also there are people who are paying more attention to what's going on than they ever have. And so it'll be a year for the books, and we'll kind of see what comes of it.
A year for the books and a year for toilet paper sales. I mean, why did we not have stock in that?
I think this is also a time where we look back and we're thinking, oh, there could have been a lot of interesting and strategic investments we could have made. Well, Marcie, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I'm really grateful for your example that you're leading by, and also that you're willing to sit down and share with us.
Chris, thanks so much for having me on today. And I'm thankful for you and for helping just kind of get the message out about, hey, there's just different ways to do things. And there are tools, there are people like yourself that can help out. And I'm just excited to get through this pandemic, family intact, house clean, and get back to work.
That's right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the Small Business Survival Guide. We're going to give Marcie's information so you can follow her on social and see what she's up to and how she's managing her team going forward. You can also subscribe to this video on the channel that you're watching it. We also want to know, what questions do you have? Comment and let us know. What is a small business owner are you worried about, or questions that you have, and we will get an expert to answer those. Thanks so much for your time.